Back in 2022, the running world went wild for the Streakfly. It was Nike's answer to the short distance racer, a super lightweight, stripped back racing flat aimed at that 5 and 10k crowd. And actually, I ran a 5k road PB in it when it first came out. Since then, a lot has changed. Other brands have stepped into this space too, and even Nike's own Vaporfly, which is kind of versatile across all sorts of different distances, started to steal the spotlight from that Streakfly, and this has slowly faded into the background. But Nike are back with this version 2, and so much has changed in this shoe. It's a completely all new shoe from Nike, really. So the big question is has Streakfly been reinvented to something that regular runners are now going to be reaching for? Or is it now even more aggressive and even more niche? And will most people be better off just simply sticking it to the Vaporfly? Or maybe something like Adidas's own Takumi Sen will be a much better bet. We'll be answering all those questions and more, but let's start out by talking about the differences between this and the outgoing version 1. So what's new with version 2? The biggest difference is now the addition of a full-length carbon fiber plate, as Nike call the fly plate, running throughout the shoe. We've now got a lower stack and drop as well. It's actually built on the same last as the Nike Dragonfly, so this has definitely got much more of a track spike feeling rather than that road shoe feeling. The offset lacing that was on version 1 has now been replaced with more traditional lacing, very similar to what we've seen with Nike's Vaporfly version 4. We've now got a new outsole on the bottom of the shoe, a new upper, and it's so much lighter. I wish I could get through on the camera just how light this shoe is. It's 21% lighter, which is crazy that they've done all that and added this plate in the shoe. And this is by far, by absolute miles, the lightest shoe I've ever run in. But unfortunately, with all of these changes, we have got that £30 price increase compared to when it was released in 2022. Right, let's get stuck into the facts and figures. So the purpose of the Streakfly version 2, this is your short distance road racer. People that are racing miles, 3Ks, 5Ks, up to 10Ks. I'd say you've got to have the strength of an elite athlete to be running a 10K in this shoe. Price-wise, this set me back £165, and of course, I bought this shoe 100% with my own money to give that completely honest, unsponsored, ungifted, unbiased review. Stack-wise, at the back of the shoe, we've got a 27mm stack. Version 1 was 32mm. There's a 4mm drop on the shoe, but it really does not feel like that when you're wearing the shoe and when you're running. The way the shoe has been built is exactly the same as how a track spike is going to be built, where it feels a lot more like a negative drop. Now, I can only assume that when Nike have been measuring their things, they've sort of measured the drop when the shoe's sort of in this sort of position, basically how the foot is going to land when it strikes the floor. This is definitely not a shoe for heel strikers, like you wouldn't heel strike in a track spike. So that's sort of how they've measured the drop when it's at sort of that sort of angle, basically. But when you put it on and your heel is on the floor when you're walking around, it definitely does feel more like a negative drop. Weight-wise, we're talking just quite absolutely baffling 163 grams. This is the lightest shoe I've ever reviewed by some way. If I get a shoe that's under 300 grams, I consider that to be very much on the lightweight side for me in my UK size 12. This is pretty much half that. It's absolutely incredible. The upper of this shoe, we've got this engineered mesh upper, just hugs the top of the foot so well. It's really soft and minimal to save weight. There is very little, if any, stretch in the fabric. That sort of movement you get in the shoe comes from the elastic lacing loops that you have on the top of the shoe. Midsole wise, we've got a full length of the Zoom X midsole and that carbon fiber fly plate running through the shoe, pretty much identical to how the Vaporfly is. Version 1 of the shoe had a very small P-back shank in the midfoot, but it really wasn't very noticeable at all. So this is completely transformed with that full length carbon fiber fly plate in the shoe. Outsole wise, we've just got this little green patch at the top of the shoe here, very thin, sticky, sort of web-like substance, much less thickness than at version 1. There are no different widths available in this shoe, and it was true to size for me. I got my usual size 12 and it was fine. If you want a bit more of a snug racing fit, then go half a size down. It's definitely a little bit narrower than the outgoing model as well. Right, let's get stuck into my likes. Right, let's start out. We've got to talk about the speed of the shoe. It's absolutely insane. Seriously light, seriously fast. It really is a track spike with an outsole and a carbon plate in it. If you've ever run in track spikes before, it's a little bit of an odd sensation, but you do get used to it. The pace range mileage in the shoe is absolutely huge. Whatever pace I was going, I feel like I could have just increased it that little bit more. The amount of effort I was having to put in to keep these paces on the screen, now I'm going about 3:10 a K pace, and it really was fairly minimal for the speed I was going. I really could have ramped it up even more. Second, like with the shoe, the addition of the plate, it really transformed this shoe into now a true speed racing shoe in my opinion. And it also gives the shoe a lot more stability than version 1. You're going to feel a lot more planted if you're going through any corners in this shoe. It's not as stiff as you might expect, which makes it a lot more user friendly in my opinion. Third, like with the shoe, it's super smooth underneath you and very quiet as well, which is always a bit of a bonus with Nike shoes. Your feet just disappear underneath you as you're running. Buttery smooth transition is just so satisfying. You just feel like you're covering the ground so nicely. It just helps promote that stronger running form. It gets you nicely up on your midfoot and your forefoot, and your legs just flow so nicely underneath you. But as we always say on the channel, it's not all about the likes. We've got some dislikes now and some observations to have a chat about. The first one being, you're gonna need some strong legs and some good form to get the most out of this shoe. It's an aggressive shoe. You really want to make sure you're gonna be strong enough to run in it. The best way I can sort of describe this is to think when you're out there running races, is my form as good at the end of the race as it is at the start of the race generally? If the answer is no, then this shoe is probably not going to be the right one for you, and something like the Vaporfly will definitely look after your legs a bit better as you fatigue towards the end of races. Second potential sort of dislike here is talking about the durability. The shoe is not designed to be racking up some big mileage in. It's one to get out for those key sessions, those strides, and also those key races as well. It's just a very lightweight shoe. It's not going to hold up that well. So as I say, just for those key moments is when you want to get this one out. Third observation here, it's obviously very niche. Nike say mile to 10K. The absolute max I would ever feel comfortable myself running is just about a 5K. If I was running a 10K in the shoe, it would absolutely destroy me. I'm not going to be strong enough to get the full potential out of this shoe over 10Ks. And fourth sort of observation here, the heel strikers, definitely be wary with this shoe. Your calves are in a lot of danger given that negative drop feel combined with that instability you're going to feel at the back of the shoe. And then so a last sort of other little observation here. Some people loved traveling in Streakfly version 1. It was a super minimal, comfy shoe to go to the gym. And this shoe is completely different. It's a lightweight carbon racer, and it's not going to be at all suitable for walking around the shops in. So if you're a big fan of version 1 for that minimal type of shoe, then as I say, this is very, very different. Fast running for races and sessions, versatility has gone out of this shoe completely. But let's have a chat about some alternatives. 3 kind of jump to mind. Now you may want to consider something like this, the Takumi Sen version 10. It's definitely more of a 5K, 10K and half marathon shoe. I find myself recommending this a lot at the moment. It's a lot more versatile than something like the Streakfly because you can heel strike in this shoe and you're gonna be okay. It has Adidas's carbon rods running throughout the shoe. It's a slightly different sensation versus the plate that you get in the Streakfly. We've got 6mm more stack, so a little bit more suitable for those slightly longer distances like a half marathon, but it is quite a lot heavier as well, 78 grams heavier. A fast shoe, no doubt. It's going to be far more accommodating to the sort of the average person out there, but it's definitely on the narrow side, even narrower than the Streakfly. So if you have got a wider foot, you may want to steer clear from this shoe. Another potential alternative out there in that super lightweight category is something like the Adios version 9. This shoe really designed for those very shorter distances, miles, 3K, 5K, 10K, but this shoe doesn't have a carbon plate in it and really nowhere near as fast as the new Streakfly version 2. Before the Streakfly 2 came out, this was the lightest shoe I'd ever reviewed, but this is now a whopping 47 grams, even heavier than the Streakfly version 2. The Adios, a bit more instability without that plate in this shoe, but it does feel a little bit more how Streakfly version 1 was. And it's, again, with Adidas shoes, a little bit more on the narrow side through the forefoot as well. But then a lot of people are going to be saying, well, what about the Vaporfly version 4? Should I get something like this, or should we be going for the Streakfly version 2. With the Vaporfly, we've got a lot higher stack height, now up to 35mm stack height at the back of the shoe, and a slightly higher weight as well. The 47, 48 grams for me, heavier in this shoe, but still incredibly light. This is the same as the Adios version 9. This is more of that 5K, 10K half marathon shoe at the moment. It's going to be a lot more forgiving than the Streakfly, much more conventional feel in the shoe. And I think for a lot of people looking for that 5K, 10K half marathon shoe, this is definitely going to be far easier to run in, but it is £75 more expensive. But if I was going to race a 10K or half marathon tomorrow, this would be the shoe I would be picking. If I was something short like a mile, 3K, 5K, I think I'll be going for this one. Basically, I think this shoe will look after your legs a lot better as they fatigue towards an end of a race. So let's conclude on where we are. Do I recommend the Streakfly version 2? Yes, it's way more nimble, way more lightweight. Of course, it's very, very fast as well in the right hands. Over a mile, 3K, 5K, it would absolutely fly. And I really can't wait to do some proper training in this shoe to see if I can improve on my 5K PB over the summer. It has a pace range unlike anything I've really ever run in before, and the kickdown you can get out of the shoe is amazing when you just need to really punch something out towards the end of a rep. However fast I was going, I really feel like there was always that extra gear I could get to. It really would suit anyone doing those shorter sessions, those 200 meter reps, 400 meter, 800 meter reps, strides at the end of your run, the type of training you'll be doing when you're getting ready for that 5K. The turnover you can get in the shoe really is absolutely amazing. As I've said a few times in this video, heel strikers, be a little bit wary. If you're the type of person that's a bit more susceptible to calf issues, be a little bit wary as well. You're going to want to get some extra calf raises, some extra strength to be maximizing the potential with this shoe. If you like version 1, you might like version 2, but really you've got to know it is a completely different shoe. This has now been fine-tuned for that all-out speed. If you like version 1 for that simplicity, then have a look at something like the Adios 9, for example, instead. Do I think this is an improvement over version 1? Massively. As a race shoe, 100% better. This is in another league, and really think Nike have smashed it out the park with another banger, and they're back on form with a very unique shoe, but a shoe in the right hands, it really could do some amazing things. Next up, have a look at the full review of the Nike Vaporfly version 4 or the Adios version 9 review to see some of the other options out there. So that's it, guys. There's my first initial impressions and early review of the Streakfly version 2. I can't wait to put some more mileage in the shoe. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you going to be getting it? Are you interested in it? What type of distances are you going to be racing in it? Let me know all your thoughts on Streakfly version 2 down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. Keep on working hard. Keep on work done. We'll see you very soon in the next one.